This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Portian Bakery. If you're located in the Portian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Portian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. So I was like trying to figure out the best way to enter into this whole BIPOC topic that I wanted to bring up, but and I think the best way would be to talk about Ticket to Paradise that I just saw, because I'm noticing this new trend towards like diversity in Hollywood, to the point, because like, you know, we watched like Shang-Chi and Black Panther next week, we're gonna watch that. So like there's all this diversity in cinema now, right? Like it's like undeniable. Like we're getting like Crazy Rich Asians, like movies that are solely dedicated to a culture, to like highlight the culture. Yeah. So Ticket to Paradise was supposed to be it is a rom-com about this girl who goes to Bali and then she meets somebody and then gets married, like meets somebody in like 2 days and then gets married. So you kind of think it's going to be like this whole
right now I remember the trailer.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Okay, yeah.
So Julia Roberts and George Clooney. Right? Yeah. So like they've been together for like so long, right? They did Ocean's 11 together, so it was great to see them back on screen. Right. But their objective was to bring their daughter back from this thing. Mm-hmm. Like they didn't want her to marry the Indonesian guy. Yeah. Right. So I thought it was going to be about that, and then like they kind of break up or whatever, but it was more just like highlighting the Indonesian culture in Bali, which I thought was so fascinating. And then I was like, why is this just so heavy on the diversity angle? You know what I mean? Like they were just going through like ceremonies, rituals, they're explaining rituals. Right. One that I found was pretty interesting was where during the wedding day, they would, or like the lead up to the wedding, the person would lie down, like the groom, and then they would shave down the teeth of the fangs of the groom without any anesthetics, and that's kind of to symbolize like the leaving of the animal nature, right? Like you're becoming more civilized, and like with that, it's like my question really is like, one, is the whole BIPOC movement going to fizzle out in the future? Because two, there's going to be no real like division between, like it's like you have, like, you know what homogeneous is, like where they're all kind of the same, but like if it's all like component parts, like if you look at sand as a total, right, there's individual grains of sand, but you just call it sand, right? So I wonder if in the future it's like, right now we're in the growing pains of having to label things BIPOC, having to label things like colonial, Caucasian, but maybe in the future it's just human. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I think in general, I think that's the...
like, is where it's going to push, right?
That's probably where it's going to go, yeah. I think
one would think. I would think, right? Like...
It's more like, I think it's also like getting used to the different things. It just becomes normal, right? Yeah,
that's why when I saw the Hollywood thing, the Indonesian, I was like, oh, you're normalizing different cultures. And one thing that I took part in this like BIPOC diversity thing. It was like a webinar, and basically the person was just talking about the plight of Black and Indigenous people, right? And then it got me thinking. I was like, but Asian people have suffered through a lot of hate, right? Recently, but also in the past. But then we don't highlight them at all in that statement. Like, we just get lumped into as person of color, but that could be like, you know, Indian people, that could be like Middle Eastern people, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it creates like a bit of a hierarchy system in terms of oppression. Like, do you agree? Like, you know what I'm trying to say there? It's like the term BIPOC is supposed to be like the oppressed rising up against the oppressors.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like, I'm marginalized, so I'm like making a statement. Like, it's the BIPOC community. Right? But even within that community, there's a hierarchy. Because you put black and indigenous first.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then even above indigenous, you put black first. And I get the whole slavery thing. But as we progress throughout, like, towards the future, it's almost like that will just become person of color. Like, you should just drop the first two letters in the acronym. Right? Or,
yeah. No, I understand that. I think it's more like the current focus on certain things.
Okay.
The reason why it would be there, and eventually they would go.
Okay.
And then just all become people again.
Yeah, right, yeah. But like, yeah, just keep the POC, you know? But then even with that though, I also
I mean, like, not even the OC. It's just people.
That's where I think the future will head. Like, because even with like calling it like BIPOC, then you're outgrouping the white people. There's
exactly.
Like division.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, but they're people too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's like the highest like perspective of this whole thing. It's that we just got caught up in the idea that we're not one thing.
I think it's just the focus on certain things. Well, because this BIPOC is generally it's coming from the Western, right? Angle. So the ones who've had it in the Western countries, the worst will be the black and indigenous people, right?
Okay.
So that's the reason, I guess, the reason for the beginning part of the BIPOC, because the people of color are the ones who are migrating or immigrating.
Okay, so you think there's just a Western problem?
In general, yeah.
Yeah, right?
In general, yeah.
But then, okay, so then it's really, like, when you really break it down, it's like, if this is a Western problem, who's predominantly made up of the West? Like, white people.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, why is it everybody against white people?
Yeah, so that's a
weird divisiveness even.
But I saw this other, like, TikTok thing, which is kind of interesting, where it was like, the main thing was, there was, like, of course, black slavery, but there's also white indentured servitudes, right?
Yeah.
But they convinced, or I would, in quotes, I'm saying, like, it's the rich people convinced that, because they're the small minority, they could all uprise against them. Where it's like, let's convince the white indentured servitude to be part of. It's a part of us.
That's true. Yeah, because they were also oppressed, like the poor white people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's really the rich white people that.
So maybe that's what
is the issue.
Oh my God, you hit the nail on the head. Maybe that's what it is. It's not a BIPOC versus white thing. Maybe that's just a marketing issue. Maybe it's really just like the upper class versus the lower and middle class.
Yeah.
Like, if you have all these 1%ers controlling the world.
Yeah. Exactly. But then now we're not thinking about that.
We're thinking in terms of the color of our skin.
Yeah.
They're making us focus less on the real issue and more on, like.
And then think about it, like who did the slavery? It's the rich people, right?
Yeah, because they could afford slaves.
Exactly. Yeah. And then it's like not necessarily like the white guilt thing, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But why like in general people are thinking white guilt in the sense of they created slavery when they could have been also part of the people that were fighting against slavery.
Right.
So what about those people?
And I totally agree with you. And I think that's actually so profound, because I didn't think of it in that way. It's like, it's really just the rich people that are controlling the narrative here, because when you see, like really poor white people, they should get lumped into that BIPOC community. It's just marginalized people against like not, even though you're white, like if you're a homeless white person, it's still going to be hard for you to get a job. Like they're like, oh, but you have the color of your skin to your advantage. Like maybe, but it's also about connections. It has nothing to, it's not just about the color of your skin, right? It's like who do you know? where'd you go to school?
Yeah.
Like there are all these things that play into like where you end up socioeconomically, you know?
Yeah.
And so, okay, so there's like countless stories of people who, you know, I'm thinking of this one person right now, and they took psych, and then they realized like, oh, this is a junk degree, like I can't do anything with this. So this person went back to school and then got like an architecture degree or something like that, and then now they're like an estimator, so they make like tons of money, but they needed the initiative to do that, and it had nothing to do with the color of their skin. It was a initiative thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like there's so many factors that play into your status in society, not just the color of your skin. But I think, like you were saying, the marketing is just look at the color of your skin, which is the most superficial thing.
Yeah.
Rather than like actually asking yourself, what is the real systemic barrier here? Because you're right, though. If you think about real systemic barriers, it's not like a racial thing. I mean, it is a racial thing, but at the same time, it's like it's a money thing. It's like
there's an element of racial thing, but I don't think it's the only thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a money thing. Yeah, of course. There's a class system.
Like, yeah, there is a class system, right? And if you, like, let's say you had two candidates and you had one that was white, you're white, let's say you're white, and then your first candidate's white, but they didn't graduate from high school. And then your next candidate is black, but they have a university degree. Of course, you're going to go for the university degree person. But then people would say like, but what if all things were equal? Would it come down to the color of their skin? I don't know. It's like, it also comes down to like how their mannerisms are, you know, like if the white person's rude, most likely you're not going to hire that white person.
Right.
You know, so like, I don't know, because I guess I'm not in that boat. Like, I'm not a white person making that judgment call on hiring. So I don't know how they would be thinking in that situation. But I would assume that merit does matter, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Although I have this really interesting story for you. So I was talking to these people, and I was like, oh, it's important to like highlight any cultural like holiday, right? Like, I was like, Diwali just passed, and like, you know, there's like Kwanzaa and all this stuff. And the person's like, yeah, but what's the value in highlighting somebody else's holiday? Mind you, the person I was talking to was white. And I was like, oh, it's a perspective issue. And then I was like, when the prime minister said something in Filipino, it made me feel like, oh, I'm seen. Like, oh, that's my culture. Even though it's like there wasn't any tangible monetary value, there was perceived value, you know? But this person couldn't understand it. And I was so confused.
Right.
You know? But it came down to they have never had that experience of needing to be highlighted.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And then I talked to somebody else who was a person of color just like me. And when I was like, oh yeah, they didn't see any value in highlighting the holiday, they were confused. Like, what, this is 2022? Like, why would you not highlight their culture? You know? But they were a person of color, so they understood from that perspective, like, we need to be heard. So I don't know what this thing is. Is it like,
it's an education thing?
I was gonna say I think it's just an education issue.
Yeah, it's an education thing, and really teaching about like being in another person's shoes, right? That's really, yes, you know, at the base of it, that's kind of what it is.
But 100%. And I think that, like, in terms of education, because it's really, if you really want to pinpoint it, it's perspective. But at the base of perspective is education. So you can't build perspective unless you are educated to that thing, like you know about it, right? And I feel like if we don't look into history, the biggest form of education is history, because it shows you how you got here.
Right.
So like the Great Human Migration and being like, oh, we all came from the same place, that would naturally build your perspective, because you're like, oh, we're all one people.
Yeah.
You know, and we all hear it all the time. You know, like I heard this like land acknowledgement this past week, and they were like talking about how we're all one people, and I'm like, that probably went over a lot of people's heads. You know, because it's like, yeah, we're one people, we're the human race, No, but like really.
Yeah, but but again, it's like that's the knowledge or the education part, right? Or it's like, did you see the human journey? Did you? Or if you didn't see the human journey, you're just acknowledging like, oh, we're all equal, but like we don't understand what that really means.
Exactly, and that's why like if it's my turn to do the land acknowledgement, I will show that video. You know, because it's like, no, this is really scientific. Although it sounds esoteric, or like we're all one. It's like no, we literally are all one.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, we're all Homo sapiens, but you're black and you're Indian and you're white and you're Asian, right? But it's like, no, but like we actually all came from Africa. Science has proven this, you know? And if you're sticking to the religious narrative, I think that's the education hurdle. You know, it's like, no, actually, you know what? It's like, it's continuous progression of education.
Yeah, it doesn't stop.
Yeah, because if you're like, oh, I'm educated, I read the Bible. It's like,
right.
It's like, it's different.
That's true. Yeah, you have to. It's continuously learning. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, and that's what science does, right? It's like, oh, this is wrong.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, yeah, you can't learn everything. Like, not everything's in the books, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like, things change or more knowledge is added, and so you have to be continuously open to learning.
But that's what science is, right? Like, science is always continuous progression. And I feel like if you don't adopt that scientific mindset, you're stunting your growth. You know, because you're like, what else is out there? You know, new books get written all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like people get like knowledge complacent. You know what I'm saying? Like you hit this point where you're kind of like, I know everything.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying, but like a lot of this, it could root down to like even our languages, the type of language, how we speak.
Translation.
No. It's like how words are expressed or, meaning.
Wait. That's so funny you said that. Okay, so literally, I think it was this past week, I wrote down, because it came to me, I was like, words are the color palette of the mind's canvas.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally how we talk is how you think. They said that in Arrival, too, remember?
Yeah.
That's how you travel through time.
Right.
Because language.
Yeah, so like I could just give you an example. I just saw this recently. So it's like if I hit a vase by accident and it fell.
Okay, yeah.
Right. In English is more like I accidentally hit the vase. So saying, acknowledging that I did it. Or in another person's language, it's like the vase fell.
Yes.
Not acknowledging that, not attaching that blame. You did it, not attaching blame.
Oh, that's good.
There's two different meanings there, right?
Yeah, see, right. And we don't, that's so fascinating. It's like really how you speak to yourself is how you see the world. Like your language really is like, they even proved that with mathematics for why are Asian people so good at math?
Right.
And then they were explaining it. I saw this video. Reels are amazing. TikToks and Reels are amazing. Like those short educational clips. But like in like I can't remember. Don't quote me on this. But it's like for us, it's like 4 times 6, right? But if you look at the Chinese language, it's like 4 groups of 6. Right. You know, so it's like, oh, it's easier for you to register that. And you're like, what does 4 times 6 mean?
Exactly.
It makes no sense. But if you're like 4 groups of 6, you're like, okay, so 6, 6, 6.
Exactly. 6. Yeah. It's a different, it's a totally different understanding.
Right. It's like easier to click in your mind, you know? I think maybe that's why I'm so bad at math, like Western math, because it makes, like, I hear a number, I'm like, it's in one ear, out the other, you know? But if you described it in a different way, like 4 groups of 6, you're like, okay, that makes sense. I can visually see that in my mind.
Right. I mean, that's why it's probably good to know multiple languages.
Yeah.
Then you have sure. A bit more
but
of a...
It's so hard, though.
I know, yeah, it's hard, but it's also like... like, those types of people probably have a better...
Facts. Yeah,
understanding of the world.
Facts.
But also depends. Like, even if you do know the other languages, what is your actual root language in your head, right? Like,
yeah, true. Yeah.
So
how do you?
It depends on that,
yourself?
I think, too.
Because you always have to translate back to something.
Yeah. So like, whenever my parents speak to me in their language, it's like it translates to English, right, automatically. So that's the only way.
Oh, interesting. So, is there a delay when you?
It's not delayed. It's like very instantaneous. It feels, but it's like actually like translating.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I think in English, right? So
sometimes, like I know certain phrases in my parents' language. Like I didn't grow up as like immersed in it as you. And when they say something, I just know what they mean and I go to do it, right?
Yeah.
But then I catch my mind going, what did they say?
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm talking to you right now, if I'm like, hey, go pick up the vase, right? You don't need to translate that in your head. You just go and do it.
Yeah. Okay.
You know? But I'm wondering if you can hit that point where you're able to, like, not have to translate it in your mind. Because I'm catching glimpses of that for myself, and I think what it is that language has just become more of my vocabulary. I'm not looking at it like another language. It's more like this is just the words. Like it's an extension of English.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, like I understand it, but that's what I'm saying. It's like it's so fast or instantaneous that's why like my replies are in English, right?
Right.
Even though they speak to me in their language, the replies are going to be always in English. Because
but you have full conversations. Like I don't have. I have like prompts. They like tell me to do things.
Okay.
You know, like I can't carry a conversation.
Yeah,
with
like
them.
that's why it's like whenever I go to India or like cousins are there, it's like if they're comfortable with the language or versus the English, I prefer them to speak their language because I understand it.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah,
I'm so jealous about that. Like I wish I knew more languages.
But there's so many. The thing is that India has so many languages, so it's like only the one language that I know.
Oh yeah. True,
so
true,
it's
true.
like.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Yeah. No. I mean. But I mean that is also similar to like the Filipino language. We have Tagalog, which is the main one.
Yeah,
They had to standardize it. I guess like Hindi for you.
Yeah, generally, yeah. Hindi,
right. Yeah. So it's like not
as...
everyone knows it, right?
Yeah.
Hindi. Yeah. Same there. So like, but because they never differentiated for me, I don't know which is which.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know when you're speaking your individual dialect or like the main language.
See, so there's like because there's two. So Kannada is what they speak generally, and my parents. Then my cousin speaks like Konkani. That's like the Goan language. Okay. I cannot. There's like some words I know, but very, very, very little. So I don't understand when they speak that. Like I can tell, like my brain isn't translating because it doesn't know.
Oh, interesting.
I see what
you're saying.
It has like what did they say? I have no idea.
And then that's when you know it's the other language.
Exactly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But there's like certain words in Tamil where it's like there's certain words that are the same or very similar. So I can understand those. I can pick it out from those types of things.
Oh, interesting. And then you piece together and you assume.
Yeah, I can try to piece together, but there's much more. There is a lot of variations, but again, also like the Tamil is the oldest language, so that the root is coming from there. So there will be some words that are similar to that, right?
Which is the oldest language?
Tamil.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's the world's oldest language?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like Sanskrit or something.
It's an old one. I think this is even older. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That's fascinating.
Which still exists.
See, when we look at depictions of ancient people, it's like we're really looking at the Western point of view, you know? You really like they must have been so dark back then. You know what I mean? Like they're probably like closer to your pigment than my pigment. Because you're outside, you're like in Africa. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like I really.
No, they do have found like the direct lineage to Africa are in those communities that are they generally have much more darker skin.
Yeah. Right. Because it's like near the equator. You're just like. Your body's just protecting you. That's why I think the whole, like we were talking about the skin color thing, it's just so funny because
it depends on how much has been mixed and over time, right? Because a lot of when the Middle Eastern or the Persians came in to India, like that's a lot of the mix happened at that time.
Yeah, right.
But like the ones that are South India,
more like original.
Yeah. Even like the Aborigines of Australia too.
Yeah, Filipinos are like. They call them Igorots, and they're like, oh, that's not a racist term.
Well, we'll just say the Aboriginals.
Yeah, they're Aboriginals. Yeah, that's what I heard they were referenced as. But they look African.
Right, yeah,
so it's like, what? Are we all just, like, if you look at the original species, like, are we that? I think so.
Yeah.
I follow this account called, like, it's like Egypt something. it's something about Egypt, right? And like, I remember, I don't know if I sent it to you, but I sent it to your brother, and it was the African statue that I took a photo of. They posted a picture of it, and I was like, oh, I saw that in their exhibit. And it's like, you can't deny that they were African back then. Their features are just so African.
Yeah. But even within Africa, there's different
like
features. Yeah,
features. Yeah. No, but the skin's still like dark. No, but like I don't want to sound racist. It's like, how do you describe
like like Ethiopians look a little different.
Yeah. True.
Right.
But if you look at an Ethiopian person and a different one, it's not just their skin color. They have like uniform features.
Yeah.
I just don't know
I don't know how to be scientific about this, but you could tell.
I'm just gonna say their noses. Like you look at it, you're like, that's an African nose, bro. Like that's not a white nose.
Yeah.
Like there's just something about the structure of the face that's like not white at all.
Yeah.
You look at it, you're like, that's not white.
Right.
But this is weird now. So we're in 2022. It's like, why is that racist?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, we're not gonna talk about stereotypes or not. Like, it's so obvious. You know?
Yeah.
Your nose looks different than a freaking white person's nose, but you can't talk about it.
Yeah. It's also like, what's the other thing? It's like, generally, like people of color are more like less hair, but then the white people have more hair.
What do you mean hair?
Like body hair.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Maybe from the winter and stuff like that. Who knows?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know, like, why is it racist to describe people?
I think it's not. I think it all depends on how the context and how you're using it. So I feel like, in our sense, it's not, but we're treating it as it is, right? Like we don't want to be offensive.
Yeah, right. Yeah, their not body hair, but like their hair.
Yeah.
It's different.
It's different.
It's like, how do you say that and not be racist? You know what I mean? Like, white hair is different than black hair. There's no, even Asian hair is totally different. It stands up more.
Yeah. It's very
not mine. Like, I'm more like Spanish, but like if you look at Wobb's hair,
right,
it's like it just stands up. Sid's hair too just stands
very,
up.
very spiky type of
naturally
style.
Yeah, but it's like, is that racist? I don't know. You have to be very like careful and sensitive now, but I feel like that's only because we're in the growing pains of it.
I think so. Yeah. I think there will always be. It's society normally. Again, it's like the ebb and flow thing. So right now, this is the main issue that's happening in society, right?
Yeah.
Race and everything. So it's like that's probably why there's more sensitivity around it.
Yeah.
Eventually, when things become more normalized, then that's where certain context really comes into play here. Yeah.
I actually do wonder if this will come up in the future, or are Asian people just silent? Like, because with the whole, like, let's say we solve the black issue, like in BIPOC, and then we solve the indigenous issue. What's the next race that's going to feel marginalized? You know?
Right. I don't know if it's... Like, I think it depends on the context of...
Like, nobody talks about Asian people at all.
Yeah.
And that's weird to me. It's like, it's just like, Be Like Water, the Bruce Lee documentary, really highlighted it. I thought it was a documentary about,
I mean, like the uptick of the Asian hate that happened even during the beginning of COVID.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But we didn't say anything. We weren't like in the streets, like, stop Asian hate.
Yeah.
Because they were busy, like, running their shops. Like, I haven't got time to do this.
I think it also depends on your, like, the socioeconomic level of particular races.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So
you
it's
know
like,
what I mean?
Asian people are like, we got money, it's cool, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
like,
there is a level of, like, you can see that from the statistics, right? The
affluence?
The level, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Like, you're not surprised when you find out, like, an Asian dude's in banking. You're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and very focused on education, right? Especially.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. True. Yeah, you know what? Actually, all right, this is interesting. So if you look at BIPOC communities, right? Like, if you look at black communities, socioeconomically pretty low. If you look in indigenous communities, we push them under reserves. And I'm like talking about Asian people, but it's like we don't receive that kind of, we're not socioeconomically in that class.
Yeah.
Some can be.
Like, no, some can be, of course, but I'm saying in general terms, right?
Like, so maybe that's why we're overlooked, like Asian people?
Yeah. Like,
could be.
You could be considered.
You have it fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah. But then, okay, if we all adopted this, I don't know how to say this, but it's like, it's almost like Asian people seem more level-headed. Like, we seem more like, this is the long game. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not like out in the streets protesting. We're not, like gluing our hand to the wall and throwing soup at paint.
Yeah, but I don't even think that is a race thing, though.
No, right. No, but what I'm saying is, like, if Asian people adopted that kind of mentality, well, there's so much we could argue about. It's like, just because we're not well off means that we're not subject to racism. Like, when I hear these games being played back and forth, I'm like, oh yeah, we could use that same tactic. Like, I see what you're doing. Like the all lives matter thing. What about Asian lives matter? Like, we can play that game, but they just don't seem to. And I wonder if that's like also upbringing.
Sorry?
Upbringing, because like, your grandparents, like the grandpas, well, what are you doing? Go back to school.
It could be that, but I'm saying that's the reason why we're all education-wise, we're much more in higher levels.
Asian people?
Yeah.
Maybe, eh?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because we're generally more well off.
Generally, but that's not always true, though.
It's not always true, but that's what I'm saying. Like, the majority of like the black community is not, right?
Oh, I see.
That's what I'm saying. Generally, they're not. There will be, of course, a few like black people really making it good, but like we're focusing on education.
Here's my question. So, with the whole like Black Lives Matter thing, and then you get like a lot of white allies, right? Where are the Indian and Asian? Well, you're Asian too, because you're part of, which is a crazy mind blow. Like,
well, the thing is, like, Asian. India is generally people would think, brown colored skin or something like that. Yeah. But there's also, like, in northern India, people that look Asian.
Yeah. So they're like Nepalese people too, or like not they're Nepalese, but like if you around that border.
Yeah. Like they're still Indian.
Asian,
they're still Indian.
They sound Indian. You're like, what's going on? Yeah. But so at those rallies, like, when do you really see hordes of our people join those? Like, actually, though, I've never seen it. Like, I'm sure there are some. They get caught up in their college, life, but on the whole, I don't really see.
Not in the general sense, no. But we're also still a minority group.
We are a minority, but it's like, why didn't we join that? And I wonder if it's cultural. Because, like, all right, think about this. If you're in a black community, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to go out to protest. Your parents either go like, you're going to get killed, or good on you, right? And then white people are like, I'm going to go protest. And then their parents are like, good on you. You should support that community. Asian people, I'm going to go protest. What the hell are you doing? Like, you have stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's literally what we get. Like, if I'm like, hey, mom, I'm going to go protest, she'd be like, read a book. What are you doing? Go to school.
Yeah.
Like, the rhetoric is different within that community.
Right.
Well, I really think so.
No.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't imagine. Like, if I told my mom I was going to protest, she'd probably like hit me. Like, what are you doing? Like, what?
Yeah.
She wouldn't be like proud of me for protesting.
It depends on the scenario, right, and who you're protesting. So it's not really.
I suppose
it's not we're not in power to make any changes. Let's say.
What do you mean? Like what?
So like I mean, we've seen the protests against the Chinese government, but that would only be from Hong Kong people.
Yeah, but that's internal.
You wouldn't see another person.
That's what I mean. Yeah. It's an internal conflict. It's protest. No, protest for things that matter to your race. What I'm saying is like
another person's race.
Yeah, exactly. It's like white people going to Black Lives Matter is like, yeah, you should support that race. Asian people like, what?
Right. I would feel like that would be more done by people that are born here versus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all. Yeah, you're right actually about that, because if you came from a different country if you are, let's say I'm like a Chinese immigrant or Filipino.
Actually, let me bring it like this. Like a lot of the immigrants that come here,
they came for a reason.
That's
what I was gonna say. Yeah. That's what I was gonna
say. Like they see here is much more better than back home.
Yeah, and no, but also, all right. So like, if let's say I was born in the Philippines and then somebody sends me to school here, and I'm like, hey, Dad, I'm gonna go protest. This is so important. My dad would be like, I'm paying for you to go to school. Like,
exactly.
Go to school.
True.
Like, don't forget your mission.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why we don't really participate in those kinds of things, because it's like.
Yeah, I think also because like we can see like our countries or how they're run, like.
You're like, this is way better than over there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
At least you can protest, bro. You should get killed. You know? Yeah, no, but for real, actually.
No, yeah, exactly. So it's like, it all depends on the perspective. So it's like a lot of people that are here who feel the pain or the suffering. I can understand them for protesting, but like it's not really seen through the eyes of a lot of the Asian communities.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like we're like the Spock of the, like Spock? We're like the Spock of the cultural wars, because when I took part in that BIPOC like anti-racism webinar, she was going off, and I was like, and I wrote in the chat, but she didn't address it. I was like, I feel like Asians aren't being represented in this. She just ignored it, but it's like she was yelling so hard. I'm like I feel like I'm the wrong person to be taking part in this, because I feel like let's fix the problem the correct way.
Yeah.
It's like, I get that you're doing this webinar, but like, what am I supposed to do about it? She's like, your bosses should be like this, but I'm not my boss. Maybe I should work my way up to becoming a boss, and then I can change it from within.
Right.
That's a more logical way to do it. I don't like. This is the weirdest catch-22 of the whole thing. They're like, you need to stand up for anti-racism at work. Okay, I'm like, cool, I'm going to stand up for anti-racism. When my review comes and my contract is over and then they're looking at rehiring, are they really going to rehire the person that like stirred trouble? But like, right? Yeah. And then they're like, but you're getting fired for like racial things. I'm like, do I have the money to sue my corporation? Like, I don't understand how people tell you to like stand up for something, but you don't look at the ramifications of that decision.
Yeah, you need to have laws to protect you in that sort of sense. So it's like, is there labor laws that are included with racism and stuff, right?
Right, and then I can go straight to that law. It's like, hey, this is the law. We need a higher body than me complaining and then getting fired later.
Yeah, I think it should be done in a way, I would say, that, or showing other, I guess, employees or workers, like, here are the actual laws. These are things you can actually implement, right?
Yeah, so, totally. We're just playing with the robot.
Yeah, versus like
that's the Spock way of doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't see these anti-racism webinars being held by Asian people.
Right.
That's just a fact. Like, I actually don't see it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not being racist or stereotypical. I'm literally in that zone, and I'm like, I don't see anybody there. You know? Yeah, that's weird. Like, there's so many hypocritical things about that, like performance review kind of related stuff, and they're like, if you're being oppressed or something, or like your manager was rude to you, you should feel comfortable speaking to them, right? And the first thing I said was like, I don't think that's like possible. They were like, what? Because that challenged the rhetoric. And I was like, no, really think about it. If I was like, hey, you're being rude to me, like, you're still human. How are you gonna take that? Even though you're legally not supposed to get mad at me, you'll get mad at me, and there'll be like resentment there.
Right.
So how is this supposed to work?
Right.
I was like, the only thing that might work is if you had like an anonymous like feedback.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense. But like, when people tell, like, within these organizations, they tell you like you should be comfortable enough to tell your boss about something, like, no, that's a lie. Right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, yeah. I feel like it depends on how your boss is.
Like, if, all right, fair.
But you got to be able to understand that.
If your boss is cool, they wouldn't do that in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, all right, let's say I say something racist to you. Just like, casually, I didn't really mean it to be racist.
Yeah.
Are you really going to tell me? Some people would, but then I'm in control of your performance. I was like, oh, okay, my bad about that. Hey, can you get these 20 projects done by next week? We'll just do it in a different way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, you don't play ball, so I'll just be rude to you in a different way. You know?
Yeah.
But that's like a structural thing. Like, you can't escape that kind of racism. I don't even think that's about being racist, though. Like, I think anybody would feel annoyed if you called them out on something.
Yeah, I don't think you should. You got to know what you are able to do or what you can do. That's through HR.
And that's not through HR in the first place, bro. Like, yeah. You got to go through the system. You have to like use the system to fix the system.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't go directly to the thing. That's just going to create problems.
Right. Totally. Okay, so this is related. This wasn't a topic, but let's talk about the people that like glued their hand to the wall with the soup can thing. It's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, really, you think you're gonna fix climate change by like doing? Like, sure, maybe you pointed a light to it, but now we all just think you're crazy.
Yeah. So,
like, how many people were like, "Oh yeah, you're right, climate change."
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, like whoever decided that plan, because it seems like they're all doing
coordinated.
Yeah, it's coordinated,
thing, right? It's like weird to me.
Yeah. So it's like, what's your message here? Is your message just all about climate change?
Yeah.
Fine, but like. You're doing it in an area that doesn't make any sense to do it in.
But leave it to the Asians to look at this like Spock and be like, "This makes no sense, guys. What are you guys doing?" You know, for real though. Like, what was the point of gluing your hand? Now you just look. Now you're. If people
that are there are just tourists, and what power do we have there?
Right? Yeah. And what's stupid is how'd you drive there? Like, how'd you get to that thing, bro? Like you are within the system. It goes back to education, continuous progression of education. They probably read like climate change is bad, and they read all about how it's bad, but then you need to like continuously progress your education and realize that it's the system entirely that created climate change, but you're benefiting from the system. So who's to really blame here?
I don't think I see the thing is a lot of these people following something, right? So they're
okay, yeah.
I wouldn't say they're in their own. I don't think they've even think that far, right? Like when you follow like a leader, it's just also
true.
It's
like cults.
It's a cult thing where you're like,
they have the right answer. You kind of like give over your
rights kind of thing to that like, person.
It's sort of like freaking God too. It's like it's like a diffusion of responsibility. It's not my problem. It's like all of our problems. Like,
and then especially if these guys look young, right? And especially at that kind of age,
susceptible.
You're very susceptible to those types of followers,
reading, bro.
Yeah. So it's like I get what's happening, but they might not even know the exact. Like they don't
exactly. That's why continuous education, bro. It's like, are you sure? Or like. You didn't go to the Kevin Hart thing, but that was really interesting. He didn't really talk about... He's a genius. He didn't talk about his family in this one. He talked about society, but he didn't... He used... All right, so I'm just going to kind of give away his bit. So he said, like, we need to think things through in society more. And then you're thinking, he's going to talk about how... Like, so many things, you know, like... transitioning at a young age, or like gluing your hand to the thing, right? You think he's going to bring up these examples, but what he said was like, if he himself got like kneecap surgery to become taller, he's like, but then my arms would look short. Like, I didn't think this one through. We need to think things through. And I'm like, oh, I get what you did there. It's like you used a stupid example, but it's like it actually applies to everything.
Yeah.
We need to think things through. And he's saying that we are such a reactive society now that we'll just do it, and then we just don't even realize like the ramifications of that decision. Like, your picture is plastered all over the news. Really, you're gonna get a job after that? Like, aren't you the soup can girl?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we're not in we're in a very different time now, right? So you can do those dumb things probably like 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally, yeah, glue your hand, whatever. Like, it's not going to stay on the internet forever, but we can Google soup can girl.
Yeah.
And then you're going to see all these people and you're like, well, good luck getting a job in the future.
Yeah.
Or even if, like, let's say you do find out and you finally get a job, if somebody like finds out about that, like, that'll follow you forever. You know, you were that dumb person that friggin' glued your hand to the thing.
I mean, like, that's still, that even happened to even Kevin Hart, right?
Yeah, true. They went back on his tweets, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's, the internet doesn't forget. That's an important lesson. You know, what you put online does not go away.
I think that's where some things may need to change, because it's like, it depends, I guess, when you do it, but like if you're young and doing it, there should be some leeway to be able to be dumb.
Because we don't have that kind of forgiveness now in like social media sphere.
Yeah, no.
Well, what's new today is new today, regardless of when it was posted. Yeah, that's trippy.
And that's something that needs to be like actually told to people. Like,
yeah, but who's really like, you know what, I feel like we've set in motion this thing that cannot be.
Yeah, that's what's happened here. Yeah,
like, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Like the internet, I mean, it's like
you've opened the Pandora's box.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
How can you possibly re-educate children? Like, no, remember this, blah blah. Like,
maybe there would be like a societal redirection in the sense of like people seeing that there's too much online, or seeing to be, or more, maybe it's going to turn to be more focused on privacy versus being public.
Okay, either we go in the direction of full privacy, or we go in the direction of everything is open.
Yeah, which is right now it's all open.
But it could be more open.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah, that's really tough to think about, actually, because it's like you can't escape the online world. You know, people are like, oh, I'm just not going to join it. I'm just not going to get an email. I'm just not going to, like, good luck. Like, what? I'm not
everything works. Everything works with that, yeah.
Like, this is the system we live in.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to, like, learn. Maybe it's like, how could you possibly do this? But, like, there should be like a class in elementary school, like, what is the internet? I don't think there is, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what they're teaching them now, but yeah.
Right? And and then when you give like a kid an iPad at such a young age, or like
I think there's depends on what it is. One thing is social media, one thing is like learning about technology, right? I think those are
true.
Those are different things, yeah.
Yeah, fair. But you know what's trippy? Like, I love it, but at the same time, it's really weird to think about that this generation, like the kids that get born like from now onward, will all have social media accounts. Or will already be on social media.
Yeah.
Like, what kid has not been posted on social media? You know?
Yeah.
So, like, you're literally going to see... It's almost like social media is going to be our public... Well, it is our public profile. It's how we engage with the digital world. It actually is, yeah. But, like, for us, when it came out, we were already, like, in our 20s, like, teens, 20s, you know, stuff like that. So it's like we didn't really develop the full picture of who we are online yet.
Yeah.
But, like, let's say 30 years from now, you can go back and find anybody's baby picture. That's a trip, right?
Yeah.
Like, really think about it. That's a trip.
Yeah.
It's like, just type in your name, and then, like, all your baby photos come up. All your teen photos come up. Not, like, even if you don't put it there, it's like your parents put it there. Wow.
Like, would there be a button to scrub yourself from the internet?
But would you really want to?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Because then it's like, then you didn't exist.
Yeah.
Which is also crazy. Like, the people that, like, you literally don't exist.
So it's like searching your name. Maybe you're like getting a job, searching your name, but nothing's showing up for your name.
And they're like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
He's a weird guy.
I don't know if I can trust this person because I don't see anything.
Yes, that's actually so true. Like, if you have zero 0 social media accounts. That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right. No, actually think about it. Let's really think about that there. Like, if you met someone and you're like, they have 0 presence online, I would be a little worried, actually. I'd be like, what? Are you an extremist?
Mm-hmm.
That's probably my first thought. Are you an extremist? Right? Or what would you think?
I think it just depends on the age.
No, okay, let's say
we're talking about our age.
Yeah, okay. There's
our age is a little bit iffy too.
Yeah.
Our age is a little bit iffy.
Let's say we'll jump 20 years in the future, and then a new person is hiring for a job,
mm-hmm.
and they have 0 presence online.
Yeah.
Would you feel weirded out? Yeah, you're thinking about it. It's.
I mean, like, because my thing is very. Even though I have a presence, I don't really do anything online.
No, but still, you have a presence.
Yeah.
But if you have 0 presence,
that's a bit weird. Yeah.
That's a bit weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you like have a small presence. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But like to have 0 presence online.
Right.
It's like, are you a weirdo? No, really.
No. True.
That's the first question. Like, are you a weirdo?
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
You kind of know about the person
mm-hmm.
when, like, whether you participate or don't participate, you learn something about the person.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 0 presence online, my first question is going to be like, or in my own head is like, are you anti-technology? You know, how can I trust you to know how, if I give you a MacBook Pro, do you know how to use it? No, really, right? Like, actually, think about it.
True,
there's so many assumptions that go along with that.
Yeah.
So you can't escape it, is the point.
Yeah.
You have to be online.
Yeah. I think you need at least something online. You don't have to have like too much things on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it also depends on your industry too, right? Like, as a marketer versus like, I don't know, a finance guy.
I think
totally different.
I think LinkedIn would make more sense
for the finance guy.
Yeah.
No, but you said too much on it. I'm saying, like, if you're a marketer and you don't play in those fields, how can I trust you to use it?
Sure. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it depends on. You're saying depends on the field.
Yeah,
I'm saying like you'd have to have some presence. Doesn't at least
at least a LinkedIn profile. At least a LinkedIn profile.
Which I don't even have one yet.
But if you have a LinkedIn profile, I'd be like, oh, okay, so you're just focused solely on professionalism.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it says something about you.
Right.
You know?
True.
Yeah, weird, right? I wonder, too, if AI in the future could create, like, digital personas of people. Like, they talked about that, where if you... Like, there's something right now where if you take all of... You, like, basically, you could make it seem like this person's having a conversation with you, with AI.
Yeah.
But because they're, like, scrubbing all of your, like...
Maybe
like,
that would be...
What?
Yeah, there would probably be an AI kind of thing for those people that don't really.
Oh, I mean, AI kind of thing.
Like running your
what?
Like running your own social media, but like it's not you.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, that's kind of. All right, that's kind of creepy too, because it's like, are they just watching me all the time and they're just like posting for me?
Or like how much it posts? You can set those limits.
That's like weird automation, though. That's like we are just fully immersed in the digital world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, I really wonder where this is going to go, because are we going to have multiple
Or it's
platforms?
like always make sure whatever I'm posting is okay for society.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Like you have like a score kind of thing. They have that for like websites as like SEO optimization. So when you type something in, it gives you a score like this is easily searchable, yes or no. Like it'll tell you.
Okay.
You know, and like I wonder if I'll filter like this is a little too like Grammarly will do that. This is a little too aggressive. You know, what you're writing. Yeah, it's really weird to think about who we're going to become in the future and how dependent we are on social media.
Yeah, and this has changed in the very, very last few years, right?
That's why it's
so
crazy
it's like,
to me. Are you going to have one social media platform in the future? That would be interesting.
That's hard to say. I don't think so.
Or no, how about this? Not one social media platform, but will you have one maybe they already have this one platform to manage all of your social media. I guess Hootsuite does that. Yeah, okay. So basically you'd have like one system that you don't need to log in all these systems. You could just like directly interact using this one platform. Because I don't like the idea of like closing an app, opening an app, closing an app.
Right,
Seems so cumbersome.
Yeah.
If you could have like a dashboard where it's like, this is your Twitter feed, this is your LinkedIn feed, this is your,
Maybe that would make more sense. But the thing is that the game keeps changing. Like the social media game, like TikTok just recently happened, right? It's if newer platforms come in, that means you have to have, I guess, like a...
You can keep adding stuff to that platform.
Yeah. Like Apple TV that's what they're trying to do.
Like, what do you mean?
So they have their own platform, Apple TV, but also like if you toggle to have Apple TV connect with your other streaming devices, so it'll pop up like when the next episode from Prime is up.
I was gonna say Google Chrome does that. The new Google Chrome, we just got it. It's pretty innovative. So you like connect all your things, and then your home screen, it doesn't show you per platform. It shows you what you might like, and then it says which the platform it's on.
Right.
So it's like, a new episode. Like it can show you like House of Dragons, the Lord of the Rings one, a John Wick movie. Yeah. But they're all different systems. But it's just one system that's showing you like what you may like.
Yeah. And then as you click on more and more and watch more and more, it gets better and better. It gets better and better with its algorithm learning.
Okay. This is actually a good segue into like, again, I didn't write this down, but how do you feel about algorithms? I know we talked about this in the past. Like, we talked about advertising, like algorithmic advertising. Like if, like, I think you don't like it, right? Or do you like it?
Advertising?
Yeah. Like personalized advertising.
There's some flaws in it. I do like it in some sense, like when I'm looking for couches or something.
Exactly.
But if I already looked at that couch, I don't want to see that ad again.
Exactly.
That's
so it needs to get better. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I think that personalized advertising is like super beneficial because it saves time.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to see friggin' stuff that doesn't relate to me. But okay, so in terms of that, how do you feel about like algorithms, like what it's showing you in the feed? I don't know how I feel about this because it's like,
it depends on how the algorithm works, because some algorithms, that's what it's like. This is the algorithm how TikTok works, or like how Instagram works, right? Yeah. So Instagram is based on like who you're following, the type of things you're following.
No, they changed it now.
So maybe the reels are different, right?
No. Like the actual feed.
So like, I guess they're learning that from TikTok, because TikTok is based on like what you're liking, so like what you're more like spending time watching.
Yes.
So if you change over time, it will change as well.
So what I found with Instagram is that it will show me things that aren't even new. It's like, this was posted 2 days ago, but it's because I might like it. You know what I mean? So like their algorithm isn't time-based anymore. Whereas before it was like, oh, this just happened.
Oh, you mean like not time-based in watching, time-based in like posting time.
Posting time-based. Yeah. So now it won't even show me things that just happened.
Yeah.
Just like TikTok,
Same
right?
thing.
It doesn't matter when it was posted. It matters like the relevance to you.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, but also a bad thing, I think. But you go first. So you tell me, what do you think?
I think that's also why I like TikTok, because of that direction versus me not liking Instagram. I haven't been back, right? Okay. I don't know when Instagram started to change that. Like, and I don't like...
But you respond to like messages, like I message you on there.
Yeah, I just check for the messages. I don't really...
You don't look at the feed.
Yeah. But I can see like sometimes I get confused if I like go into a reel. It's like, it feels like very much like TikTok.
Oh yeah, they're right? Copying. They're straight
I'm
copying
like,
now.
Oh, I was on IG. I wasn't on TikTok.
Yeah. They're straight.
So those are like accidents that happen. But like, I generally like TikTok in that sense, because there's other aspects of it that I like. I like the live aspects. Watching the because as you scroll, you also randomly get the live ones. So sometimes I watch those.
That might actually be new to what do you call it, to reels. them. I haven't checked because I don't like look at reels. But so I think it's like consumption. So you prefer continuous scrolling. I don't. I like to look specifically for what I'm looking for. Okay, so it comes down to highly curated feeds like me.
Yeah.
I never look at the suggestions.
Yeah. I don't like to. That's why I don't like following things. I don't really.
Exactly. Yours is less curation. Mine's high curation, right? And if it's that way, like both times, like you're susceptible to the algorithm. But if you're not focused on curation, do you run the risk of being put in an echo chamber of the same idea?
So that's what I'm saying. It changes as you go, right? You get influenced by other things around you too. So like what I used to first get, I don't get as much.
Right, but you're still
your
in an echo
likes
chamber,
and things
though.
change.
No, but you're still in an echo chamber. Of
Yeah. But I think I
noticed that they're like they won't give you the opposite opinion. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it depends on how you tag those types of videos. So you could get opposite videos. I mean, opposite things as long as those things are being tagged.
Okay, here let me give you an example. So, I believe UFOs are real. So if I'm looking at videos that keep confirming UFOs are real, then it'll just like solidify that in my mind.
Yeah.
But then if I'm getting constant feed of UFOs that aren't real, I'll just get irritated and I won't like this is not connecting with me, or it might change my opinion.
So like I can bring up like the Kanye West thing, right?
Okay, go ahead.
So like a lot of the Kanye West stuff showing
that's a great example.
Yeah, showing the
either he's right or wrong.
People agreeing with Kanye.
Yeah.
And then I've got feeds that are also not agreeing with Kanye.
So my feed is all agreeing with Kanye.
So mine was variety.
Okay. So, interesting. So you're getting both.
Yeah, but I think it's probably because Kanye is tagged in it.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay, interesting. So maybe high curation is also like echo chamber of sort. Well, of course it's an echo chamber because I'm picking what I want to see. Okay, so then how do we rule our beliefs? Is our belief based on what we truly believe or what we've been exposed to?
I think it's what we've been exposed to, of course.
So then, I know. Exactly. So we're subject to algorithms. Yeah. Algorithms rule our lives. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that actually like touches on free will too, because it's like, how can you choose something that you had no chance of choosing in the first place? You know, like if we are just a feedback loop of what it is we're exposed to, then how can you possibly choose or change?
Yeah.
Right?
You
can't.
So
okay, wait, no. My best example, again, the person I was talking about free will with at work, she like messaged me on the Friday and she's like, "This is still boggling my mind." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, like you're now ready for the next level." So I tried to send her like a card trick, but it didn't work because it was too grainy. So basically, it's David Blaine. This is like my best example for free will. The example is like he shows you a deck of cards and he flips through them. He's like, pick a card. Just try and see a card as fast as you can. But the trick is he slows it down at one card.
Yeah.
So all you see is that one card. And then you're like, oh, I choose Queen of Spades. And then he's like, I guess it was Queen of Spades. And you're like, how'd you know? But he forced you.
Exactly.
To pick that.
Yeah.
He thought it was, so that's the illusion of free will.
Yeah.
But that's how our lives are. Like we think we're in control and making choices, but there's so many things that affect us on a conscious and unconscious level that we're really just being directed by energy at all times. And that's really hard for people to wrap their heads around.
Yeah.
Because she was like, so you're suggesting that there's something above us that is controlling everything? I'm like, yeah, it's called math. Right? Or the universe or physics, like whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but she was like, but are you talking about God? I'm like, no, I'm talking about math. Like, it's just statistical probability or like stuff that, you know, it's algorithms.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I just wanted to add like with the whole social media or what you have on YouTube and stuff, I very much have different things.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like at work, I'm listening to a lot of the debates, religious debates or whatever, right? But I don't do that here. So on my computer, it doesn't have that.
Okay, interesting. And you don't sign in?
No.
Oh, it's genius.
Yeah. So here it's all very much like movie stuff or video game stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then the phone, the TikTok is just random.
See, that's weird too. It's like each platform interacts with you differently.
Yeah. So that's how I like to have it differently. I don't want to have the religious stuff here. I don't want to be just bombarded with only that mixed in with the other things that I like. So I'll just keep it on things that I like here.
Right. But see, that's sentience and knowing. But that's all right. See, that's the thing. It's like you know how the algorithm works. But if you don't know how the algorithm works, then how are you're like subject to the algorithm?
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like this. So like you know how the algorithm works, so you can choose which algorithms to be a part of. But simultaneously, if you know that everything's an algorithm, which is like determinism, then your mind just uses like tools to accept. Like, let's say a car hits you.
Yeah.
You're like, well, this is meant to happen. That's the tool I'm going to use. You know, or like, let's say the unknown is going to happen. Like, oh, I'm going to visit the doctor. Am I going to die? You know, then like you try and affect the algorithm. You're like, let me be healthy and like do all these things.
Right.
But you know, at the end of the day, it's like, it doesn't really matter because it's going to play out how it's going to play out. So like on the macro level, your highest self knows that it's all predetermined. But like when we're on the lower level, like human interaction, we need to act superficially and pretend like we have choice. You know,
the illusion of choice.
The illusion of choice. We do have to pretend like.
Did I choose to pick up the phone?
Yeah.
Or was I supposed to pick up the phone?
Yeah, but then if you think about that too much, you're like, I'm not even going to do anything anymore. That's when people start like just lying in bed all day. And they're like, right? They're like, what's the point of anything?
Yeah.
You know?
That's the nihilism.
Yeah, exactly. But one would say you were predetermined to lie in bed all day. So like, you chose to take it that way, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you can't escape it. Yeah, but I guess,
Depends on, there's...
You really can't escape it.
You can't escape it. That's why it's like, do you want to know too much or know little? Right? It's the ignorance.
If you knew exactly how you were going to die, would you want to know it?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, that might change anything. But that might change something. But it's like, no, that's the hope of it changing. But you'll never be able to change it. You know this is exactly how you're going to die. Dude, that's trippy.
Yeah.
All right, you know what'd be really trippy? Imagine if they're like, how are you gonna die? You're gonna kill yourself. Right? Okay, if they said that, then you're gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna kill myself. And then you end up going into this loop and then you end up killing yourself.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? You spiral, like it's spiral. You're like, no, of course I can't kill myself. No, I'm just gonna live this. Blah, blah, blah. And then you keep trying to outwit destiny, but it's going to happen. It's almost like a movie.
Yeah, I mean, there is a movie kind of like that too, where it's like, it's like, by telling you you're going to die, did that set you in motion?
Exactly. That's what I meant. That's why it's like, how are you going to die? I'm going to kill yourself. Because you're expecting, I'm going to die like being hit by a car. Yeah. And you start avoiding all cars. Yeah. You know?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, did that line or his timeline start when I told him? If I didn't tell him, would that have happened?
But you did tell him, so now we're in this timeline.
Yeah, of course.
But you would have told them anyways, because we were destined to meet in this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? Like, it's almost like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like they've tried. Like, mystics have tried for so long to explain what this thing is, which is like the one example I can think of is like your highest self is watching a movie play out on screen. So like we're watching the movie of our lives in first person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all movies are written. They have a start and end.
Yeah.
Like they know exactly how it's going to play out. You're just in this immersive thing where you think it's real, or you think it will deviate from the course, but it won't deviate from the course.
Right.
Like that's the best example I can think of. Yeah. Like I can visually see it, but I can't explain to you what this looks like to me. You know, where it's like domino effects, or you know what I'm saying? It's like, how do you explain to someone that every action they choose is a part of a grand action,
right,
that was already destined to play out in that way? You know?
Yeah.
But that is what determinism is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And determinism is just an algorithm, right? For anybody
that's why the idea of the simulation is there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but we are in a simulation because simulations are like created. We are in a created, like, we were, oh man, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like we were destined to get to this point from the first person who discovered oil. And then he decided, like, oh, we can make fire with this. Oh, we can make a car with this.
Or like playing like I don't know, Age of Empires or one of those kinds of games, right? It's like you're set up. Why am I building these things? I don't know. That's what we're doing.
Build them though. You know, that's the objective of the game. Yeah.
But the people in that world is just doing the actions, just doing.
Yeah.
Going with the flow kind of thing, or whatever that was programmed to do.
Yeah. So, but that's who we all are, right? If you get caught up in this idea of the individual self, you know, like who I am as a person, my life matters. But like, no, you literally are one in a zillion people that were born and die. Like your life really is just like every other life. The only thing that's different between your life and another person's life is it's happening to you. But like the progress of the video game, like you were saying, like Age of Empires, like the little NPC characters that are running around, like, I don't know why we're building this, but we're supposed to, you know? Yeah. That's us.
Yeah. Like, don't question it. Just go ahead with it.
Yeah, right. But then the grander scheme is that this thing is being built. So then it's kind of creepy because then you're like, what is driving us to build this thing? Like really though, like if you play Age of Empires, if you don't know what Age of Empires is, it's like you build civilizations and then you like watch that civilization grow. But you are the person with the mouse directing the game. But in reality, like in real life, we are the individual character who's running around on the ground. So who is the one directing the game? That's the real trip.
Yeah.
Well, question. Yeah, maybe it's no one. It probably is no one.
Well, I mean, it depends.
Well, it's like the universe is directing the game, but
yeah. I like that's. I mean, the God is where it comes into play here. Actually,
here's a good question. Okay. What are we at time wise?
An hour and 12.
Okay, cool. All right, well, we'll leave it with this question then. Wow, there's so much more I wanted to get to, but all right. But we'll leave it with this question. When we wax philosophical, time just like goes by so crazy. Quickly. Yeah. Okay, so.
Someone with that algorithm.
I know, right? So if you hit the dominoes, it's like, let's say you set up dominoes.
Yeah.
You hit the one domino, and then all the other dominoes start falling. So my question is it falling because they're falling, or is someone directing the fall?
Well, in that sense, someone is directing the fall.
No, because you just hit the first one, and then it just started going.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Who directed the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one? I didn't choose to hit the next one. I only chose to hit the first one. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. But that's the trigger, right?
But my intention was to only hit the first one. I didn't mean to hit all the other ones.
Yeah, but the way that it would work is...
It all comes back to me?
Yeah.
No, but I didn't choose to hit the other ones. The other ones were just in the way. So, like, I wanted to hit the first domino. Only the first one.
Okay.
But incidentally, that one domino is connected to 2 dominoes, which is connected to 4 dominoes, which is connected to 16 dominoes.
Okay.
Right? I only wanted to hit the first one.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden, this whole thing started spilling out.
Yeah.
Right? Who's directing the domino fall? I'd say no one is.
It depends on how you look at it, I guess.
No, I know. Exactly.
So you can say no one is,
but it was triggered by your action.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe that's what life is. Maybe somebody just hit the Big Bang button, and we're just the domino effect.
Yeah.
But there is no God that's choosing, like, oh, then they're going to create oil, then they're going to...
Oh, no. Yeah.
That's why my example.
Okay. So it's like, I understand what you're saying now. It's more like, he's not involved in doing certain things.
Exactly.
He just turned on the simulation and let the simulation play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when they talk about God,
I would agree with that.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why when I'm describing, like, what is this greater energy that's running the universe, is just mathematics. It's just the continuous tipping of other dominoes. Nobody's directing the tip of dominoes. They're just connected. So it's like, oh, it's just happening.
Right. Unless there's a bug in the simulation, he has to go and fix it.
But for sure. Okay, true. But yes. But I'm saying it's not like a simulation. Like a simulation would suggest that he can control the dominoes.
Yeah.
I'm saying he can't control the dominoes. They're just connected to everything.
I got you.
Like, the world is just dominoes.
Right.
All somebody did was just hit the Big Bang button. And then now here we are.
Right.
Because as far back as we can trace, everything started with a Big Bang.
Yes.
And that's the tipping of the first domino.
I think it also depends. See, the thing is also... So the word that we use, Big Bang... It's not... Like, we're going back to the English language. Like, we have a different meaning of what Big Bang is.
Okay.
Versus...
Okay. Like creation story or...
Yeah, it's like what...
Maybe there wasn't a Big Bang. Maybe it was like... Like what do you mean?
You know what I'm saying? Like, why does it have to be necessarily a Big Bang, or like, is it a loop? Right? It's like... Oh, no,
okay, so you're talking about the other belief that...
Because when you say Big Bang, then someone started a Big Bang, versus a loop where it's just a continuous cycle.
What you're talking about, so interesting. Brian Greene talks about this. So this is one supposition of what we might be in, is there is no start and end to this thing. It's always just playing out for infinity. And the reason why is because the universe is constantly expanding. And they believe that there's going to be a big rip where we hit the end of the box and then the universe contracts all the way to the size of like a pea, they say.
Yeah.
And then once it hits the size of a pea, the gravitational compression is so strong that it explodes again. So it's not actually a Big Bang. It's just like a balloon that's being blown up and contracting, contracting over and over and over.
It seems like a lot of things that happen in our universe is like that. Like the sun, even though becomes a big giant, red giant, and explodes,
and then it
starts up again. Yeah. But then it can, from that, like the debris, another new life starts again.
How do suns get made? How do suns get made?
I seen it a long time ago. I don't have to remember, but like...
Because I wonder if like that could explain a lot as well.
Yeah.
If we look at how suns get made, because that's probably how our universe got made too.
I mean, possible. Like you don't want to always connect to everything.
Yeah, facts.
That's what we always try to do.
That's why you leave it to the experts to figure out. But
there's a new sun can be born from that, like the phoenix, from the ashes, a new one.
But will it be the exact same? So if it's
not necessarily the exact same.
Oh, okay, interesting.
There's different types of things. There are different types. It could be a black hole, I think. It could be other aspects of it too, like starting another kind of star.
Okay.
It all depends on the kind of debris that's left behind and that gravity force starting to...
Yeah. Expand, and then it explodes again.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, because, all right, so they say in, like, Zen, you can't jump into the same river twice. because the river's always flowing, even though it looks like the same river. It's not the same river. Right. So is that what we are? Like every time it expands and contracts, it's a whole new life, a whole new domino system. Like when this thing contracts again.
You can even say
it's
like
similar, but it's not the same.
Yeah, you can even say it's like to the variations of the different civilizations that we even had. It's like it's not always the same.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
But it's a new type of civilization, but still an expansion.
Yeah. It's still the same characteristics.
Same characteristics, but the way it's doing it, like Egypt with their pyramids. We don't do pyramids. Now we have a different kind of
and
the concrete jungle.
Instead of gold.
Yeah.
But that's why I like the line, like it's is it from Thailand? It's like same but different.
Right.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's just slightly different.
Exactly.
It's like you can't jump in the same river twice.
Right.
It's the same river, but that water's gone now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So maybe that is what it's like.
And it's always changing, even if the water's going, right? It's cutting through the ground and
exactly. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So it's always changing.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Oh, that's good. I think maybe that's a great ender to the podcast then. She's sleeping the whole time. All right, yeah. Until next time. We're talking about Black Panther next week. I'm pretty stoked. You stoked for it?
Yeah. I'm not going to watch anything until I see the movie.
It's giving me SJW vibes. It is. Now that it's progressing, they're releasing more trailers. I'm kind of like, oh, no.
I'm not going to watch anything. I'm just going to go into it and see how it goes.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you next week. Yeah, until next time. Take it easy, fish.
Peace.
Bye. All right, hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, fish.
Peace.